Hey guys, it's Nicole and I have March's monthly celebrations video up today. This is a scrapbook series that I am doing with Grace Tolman here on YouTube. Her video and blog link will be below in the description box. And let's get going. Shows some very recent pictures. These were actually from last weekend and I took them on my cell phone. I didn't even bring the camera. So typically when I'm taking photos off of my phone and trying to scrapbook with them, a lot of times I will use like a photo collage or something where they're gonna already be printed small and you're not gonna see them anyways. So I decided to do some die cutting and kind of do a film strip type of layout. And here I'm just showing the pattern papers that I had pulled when I was getting ready to start the layout, and I just was going with sort of bright colors, kind of primary colors, things that are good for boys and kids and that type of thing. I didn't pull any sort of specific collections. I just did a quick look through like one section of my pattern paper and I just pulled what I thought I liked. I grabbed this 6x6 pad from My Favorite Things, and then this phrase pad, which is super old, from Pebbles, because the back sides of this have some good tone-on-tone prints. And then the My Favorite Things, I had to think about that for a second, pad has is basically all tone-on-tone. And then I was just showing you the super cute stamp and dies that I had purchased from My Favorite Things, and I bought them during one of their clearance sales. A lot of times I will wait until they do a big clearance sale to get stuff like this. Mostly just because, I mean, you do save a lot of money, especially when the dies for a lot of the stamp sets are almost $30 a piece, for a set. So I like to shop their sales when I can. And this particular stamp set is called Your Roarsome. So I don't know if they still have this one or if you can find it used somewhere. But like I said, I am using photos from a week ago, and I had taken my son to one of these traveling shows that they had at the convention center downtown, where it was sort of half dinosaur exhibit, half like dinosaur fair almost, where you had to buy a ticket to ride a ride, and there was bounce houses and that type of thing. So I decided I wanted to do something cute and kid-friendly, and I typically will purchase stamps and card making supplies with the intention of using them in my layouts. So a lot of times if I'm drawn to a certain stamp set, I will try to think of a way that I can incorporate it into my scrapbooks. And this particular one I thought would be good because my son is still currently obsessed with dinosaurs, so I'm hoping that I can kind of pull this one out for a few layouts and sort of get more out of the set and the dies. I am not a Copic coloring expert. I sort of start sweating when I need to color with Copics, so I don't do it very often, and so it was one of those things where I was like, okay, you just gotta rip the band-aid off and you just do it. Doesn't matter what it looks like, just sort of relax, have fun, and see what happens. I discovered that I probably need to run through the Copic class that I had purchased, and I think I worked through about half of it from online card classes. They had a ton of information on there and different techniques and stuff, and I had actually pulled my homework sheets out to sort of reference color combinations and stuff when I was coloring these, but I feel like big images like this I was struggling with. So my sort of fix for that was to kind of do the dot texture technique that you see a lot of YouTubers do, especially like card makers, and I do have to say it does work wonders for covering up bad blending or just funky looking coloring. So that was pretty much what I did for all three dinosaurs, and then I seem to do better with smaller shapes, and I'm not sure why. It's almost like if I have a smaller shape, there's just sort of less marker to put down, so it's a little bit easier for me to kind of transition between the shades, I think. But I don't know, it's one of those things, the more you do it, the less like weird it feels. So I'm definitely going to try to incorporate stamps, and especially ones that I need to color on my layouts more often. So, that being said, I cut it out of the video, but I went through and die cut all of the shapes that I had colored in, and then here you can see I was sort of back and forth on how I was putting the actual layout together. I die cut all of my film strips in just cheap black cardstock because I wanted to layer them, and then the top layer film strips I did in pattern papers, and so I did a yellow, an orange, a green, and a navy blue. And to glue the two film strips together, I just took this spray adhesive that so far I'm liking. It's Elmer's Craft Bond spray adhesive. Pretty sure you can find this almost anywhere. And for me, it's just super fast as far as spraying like intricate stuff like this. Putting the whole film strip down on my layout, I was kind of back and forth between these little mini glue dots here and my ATG and just kind of different stuff. And you'll see here what I mean when I say that I was just kind of back and forth. I didn't really go through and do like all of the photos on the film strips and then attach the film strip to my layout. I kind of worked in like a weird order, but it works for me. So that's just kind of how I have to do things. And when I was sizing my photos, what I ended up doing was I sized my film strips in Silhouette Studio software. I dropped my photos into Silhouette Studio and sized them to fit behind the frames. And then I just took the sizing numbers that show up on your shape in Silhouette Studio, and transferred those numbers over to Photoshop and cropped my photos so that they would fit behind there. And I tried to leave more room, or like I guess when I say transfer the numbers, I mean it was not the exact same size. A lot of times it was bigger because I was being lazy and I knew I can just trim it with my trimmer after I get my photos printed, and it ended up working. I think I had one photo that for whatever reason I cropped it a little too small in Photoshop, so you'll see here in a little bit how I kind of covered that up. And then I just dragged and dropped all of my photos onto two 8x10 canvases on Photoshop and then sent them to Walmart's 1 Hour Photo, because if you know me, I am a procrastinator, like world-class level. Today is the 19th. I did this layout start to finish all day today, and the videos go up on the 20th of every month. So I'm like, awesome. I think this is the closest that I have cut it. It's 8 o'clock at night that I'm doing the voiceover to upload for tomorrow. Grace is amazing. She is like on it. She sends me stuff like 5 days before. Hey, here's my links. And I'm like, oh, I haven't done mine yet. So, oh, excuse me. Hopefully next month I will be on it a little bit better, because doing this stuff last minute it's motivating, but at the same time I'm like, oh, it's like you're kicking yourself in the butt. It's like when you're doing your homework the morning before class. So I cut out a lot of just kind of cutting all the different pieces and sort of laying everything out. Here you can kind of see I was just trying to figure out which spots I wanted to have pattern paper. I was trying to avoid, I guess, having pattern paper like right next to another piece. I wanted them to look a little bit more random and spread out throughout the layout. And some of the dinosaurs I'm tucking to where they are sort of sandwiched in between the frames. One of them, he's just going to kind of look like he's inside the frame. And that one that I was putting down right there is the one that I sized to be a little bit too narrow. So I'm going to end up covering that up here in a second. And most of these pieces, I just kept using those glue dots that I had out. It was sort of quick and easy to just get them attached. And then here, you can see that gap where you can see the background paper. So I just took these two little leaf palm images, I'm not really sure what they are, and I'm just going to tuck two of them in there and hope that it kind of looks intended. The photo that it's covering up isn't like a great photo anyways. It was really dark. It was really grainy. He just kind of, Mom, take my picture in front of this dinosaur. Like, okay, I have 20 of these pictures now. So it wasn't like it was my favorite photo or anything. Otherwise, I probably would have left it blank, reprinted it, and popped it in later. But I purposely kind of did the lower quality pictures in that smaller film strip just because I knew that they, you wouldn't be able to tell if they're printed that small. I grabbed another of the stamps from the set. It's just a couple of the phrases. I stamped RAR in a teal ink on one of the pattern paper areas, and then I took the little phrase "You're roarsome" and put it on the frame right there. And then here I did a rough print of my journaling, and then when I was pulling something else out, I came across this scrap of 6x6 paper that I had used in a previous layout. I want to say it was from February's monthly celebrations because I had a notebook paper cut out of it. So I just was like, I'm going to use this. It's already here. Printed my journaling on it, and then I'm going to just kind of trim it down a little bit and end up tucking it behind. I'm not really measuring, just kind of eyeballing it. And then I just made sure that I didn't glue down my frames until this point when I had everything that I was trying to tuck behind it down, and then I went ahead and made sure that all of this was attached to the background page. And then I just have to add my last little dinosaur, which is the cute little T-Rex. And I'm just going to have him kind of peeking behind the frame, so he's going from one frame to the other. And then I'm a little bit out of frame for the last part, which I don't even know if I included it. We'll see here in a second. I just grabbed some black thickers to write the name of the show that we had gone to, which was just T-Rex Planet. I hope. They didn't give us any ticket stubs or anything to take home. It was kind of one of those shows. These alphabet stickers are super old from Authentique, and I think they are a baby line, so definitely take a double peek at your letter stickers. I grabbed some Simple Stories snap labels. I tucked one up above the frame, and that is pretty much where I'm going to stamp the date, which you'll be able to see here in a second. Right there. So here's a couple photos, full shot of the layout, and then a couple detail shots as far as some of the stamped pieces and whatnot. I will provide a link below in the description for Grace's video and her blog, so be sure to check those out, and be sure to leave any comments that you have or any questions. If you have any questions for me, leave them below and I will be sure to get back to you. Thanks for watching.